Aloha. This is Geralyn St Joseph. I am a natural born psychic intuitive, and we're here to talk about what the heck is going on right now. Today is February 2nd, but whenever you're seeing this, hopefully it will be good for you to hear. I try to make my videos so that they resonate for a long period of time. I'm in America, and things have been crazy, to say the least. We've had a lot going on, especially with our airspace. The end of last year, we had all these drones out in the where everybody was seeing them, especially on the East Coast. And recently, we've had two major air tragedies, one in Philadelphia and one, I believe, in Washington. So these are things that are not normal, especially not to have two so close together, both on the eastern seaboard, and literally, well, by plane, it's less than an hour. But even if you're driving it between Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, it's about 3 to 4 hours. So they're very close. And I'm kind of wondering what is going on. And I wanted to feel into it intuitively to see if we could figure it out and if we can expect anything else to happen anytime soon, which I'm hoping the answer to that is no. So, what we're going to do is we're going to do a few card pulls. And then, if any of you come on and you have different questions, we could do that too. But for right now, we're doing this more as a general card pull for the whole of the United States so that we could see like what's happening energetically with us and to also see like what can we expect moving forward. We just had a major change in leadership. Some people are thrilled, beyond thrilled, and other people are not thrilled, beyond not thrilled. And then there's a lot of people who are like, well, got to be better than the last one, you know. So we need to see what's going on. I also know that worldwide there's been a lot happening even with the aircraft stuff. I didn't look to see how many different accidents and problems there were in this past week, but just a cursory glance showed me that in several different areas around the world there have been like strange problems, and the two that happened here in America were very odd. So let's get moving. I have with me several different decks of cards. I like to use different decks just because I like to play with them. This is my regular deck. It's called the Oracle of the Triad. You can see it is very well loved. I bought this deck in 1995. It probably was the first deck that I used professionally for a longer period of time. So far as like using it regularly. I did have tarot decks. This is not a tarot deck, it is an oracle deck. But the tarot decks, although I love the tarot, it's just not the same. Like, for whatever reason, this deck speaks to me. And if you want to learn about reading and divination and what that entails, I wanted to let you know that I am going to be starting a class. It will be a weekly class. I think it's 6 weeks I have it set up for. And I don't know if you guys can see that. It's Explore Your Intuition, Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Exploring Your Intuition series. So this class is modules, and each module contains 4 classes. Oh, it's more than 6 weeks. I'm thinking of a different class. So each module contains 4 classes. So you could take one module if that is what interests you, or you can grow throughout and take all of them. I believe I have 4 set up for this particular series. So it's 4 modules of 4 classes apiece. I think it's the way I did it. And you can find that on my website. I do have this class already recorded also, so you could either take it with me live, or you can go online and sign up for the web class that is pre-recorded. I'm going to be doing the class via Zoom, And if you want to kind of get an idea of the way I teach, the intro class is just $20, and there is pre-registration required because I can only have so many people on my Zoom account. Okay? All righty. So, what is going on right now? We're looking at Eastern Seaboard America between New York and Washington, D.C., this corridor. What is happening? What do we most need to know? Interesting. So the first two cards that come up, we have our Omega, which is the end, and Necessity. So basically, what that tells me is that what they're going to find is not necessarily that these accidents are connected in any physical way, but that it's going to bring to light certain changes that need to be made in aviation or something to do with the way that the air traffic is routed and controlled. So I do feel like these two tragedies happened for a reason, and that in the coming months we will see what that is, and that it has to do with changing some fundamental things having to do with aircraft itself and also aircraft control. Um, I feel like there's more to both of these tragedies than what we're being shown, and that as things come out, as they are wont to do, because we are in a period of time where you cannot hide things. Bad time to lie. It's a really bad time to lie or try to cover anything up because it's not going to work, especially not long term. So Spirit is saying that although it's almost like it shook us all awake. And as I said, things are not just happening here in America. I saw that there was another accident in South Korea. There are different things happening all over the world that are shaking us awake, so that we get out of our own way, and we get out of this sense of only caring about ourselves and our little piece of the world, and really looking at things more globally, and recognizing also that since 2020, what I have seen happening is in 2020, we all had to isolate, and we had to get used to that because, especially in some countries, I mean, like in China, they're still doing these things. And here in America, the way things happen, it lasted about 2.5 years. We did 2021, then 2022, things started to alleviate a little bit. And we're kind of the nature that we will not do that again. We are not revisiting that no matter what is going on. People are going to look harder. They're going to ask questions. They're going to demand answers. So each different populace, it affected in a different way. But the through line is that we were all isolated, and being isolated and then being driven into fear. When we're coming out and doing more, we're doing it slowly. We're not getting around as many people. You're not as we're not as affectionate with one another and things like that. So what that does is that suppresses the mental health. It More people are depressed, more people are anxious. We need human touch. Like it or not, we need it. There are many studies on hugging and what hugging can do to help boost your immune system and how it helps your mental health. So this is something that we need. We need to interact with other people, and we need to be able to physically touch each other. And having a dog or a cat or another animal that you could cuddle with is awesome. I mean, it does boost your serotonin, but it's not the answer. The answer is moving back towards a space where we're all feeling that we're in this together again, and the neighborhoods come out, and that we're more amongst one another. The less that we have interaction with one another that is uninhibited, the lower our immune systems get because we're not being exposed to anything. So we want that connection back. That's what we want. We want that connection back. Okay. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. And you do have to subscribe to be part of the chat. We do that so that we don't get any trolls. And if we do, we could get rid of them very quickly. You know, the internet. So let's see. We are going through a period of time right now where we just are coming out of a new moon, and that was about purging. So we're still into this. So what we're doing is when we purge, it's about moving the energy around, and you're moving things out so that something better can come in. So we're getting rid of anything that has stale energy, I'll call it. So I love Marie Kondo, and she does, like, you pick it up. Do you love it? If you love it, you keep it. If you don't love it, you get rid of it. The way I was asking my clients to look at these things is, and I did a video, I think last week on this, is to think about the top 5 people or things that are that have space in your head rent free, that, things will come up right away about them. And we take those 5 people and we look at, okay, what is the source of this? Why is this still bothering me? Why is this still connected to me? And we try to figure it out. And then we pull all that energy and we get rid of it. How do we get rid of it? Well, we write things down, and then you could do a ceremony to get rid of the paper. You could do that with water, with fire, with earth, with air. So there's all different kinds of ways to do it. But what we want to do also is go through your home, go through stuff that you've had, and look to see, what do you have that is still holding on to this negative energy. For instance, you have an ex who was abusive. He gave you amazing jewelry. You still have all the jewelry. Well, you need to do something with that jewelry, because that jewelry is still holding on to the energy that person gave it, and it's still connected to him or her. So if you are dead set on keeping that jewelry, what you need to do is clear it, cleanse it, repower it. So you power it back up, and then you assign it its mission. For instance, diamond rings. And I know about the whole De Beers thing, but metaphysically, a diamond ring is supposed to, you give it to your partner to make sure that they never cheat on you. And most people don't know that. They don't know how to set it up that way, but that is kind of what a diamond ring is for. It pulls the person back to the person who gave it. So if you're holding on to diamonds from an ex and things didn't end well, you need to get rid of them or do something in order to cut that energy so that it's not still focusing on you. It's still not doing that. Another good one, since, Valentine's Day is coming up, I'll probably do a video about all the different gemstones for lovers, I guess. Another good one is to wear turquoise and to give your significant other turquoise, because turquoise, it's said, will change color if your lover strays. So it's another good one for that. We're hoping that they stay faithful, so we're hoping that never changes color. But if it does, you need to ask them some questions. And again, in order for the stones to really live up to and do the different things that they have the ability to do, they need to be cleansed, cleared, and programmed. And they need you to fill them with energy every so often. So depending on how often you wear different stones, different rings, different necklaces and whatnot, you will want to cleanse them on a regular basis. There's so many different ways to cleanse your jewelry. It's ridiculous. Actually physically cleansing it is good, But to do it so that you're removing negative energy from it or to reprogram it, there are, like some things you use salt. You don't want to use salt with anything that is a softer stone. Probably don't want to use that if it's real gold, because it will pock. You can use salt water. You could use lukewarm water, just the water itself without any salt in it. You could use meditation. You could use sound. There we go. I just got a new bell, but I left it in the other room, and I'm not going to go get it. But the bell is really good too, to cleanse it with the sound. You could cleanse it with sunlight. You could cleanse it with moonlight. You could cleanse it with an eclipse, depending on the kind of energy that you want with it. Sometimes you need to bury it. You bury it at the roots of a plant. The best plant to do that with, that I'm aware of, is bamboo. I'm sure if you have sage or something like that, that would work also. Basil is coming into my mind. So, and then the earth purifies it. The earth makes it better and gives it what it needs. Speaking of which, I had a peridot here that was, it is natural, and it's on its natural base. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful parrot green, gorgeous. It's a nice chunk, and it had like all the crystals on it. And I left it home one year when I was coming to visit my folks, and my housemate did nothing but fight for 3 weeks with his girlfriend. And it just pulled all the color out of that stone, because peridot is for a happy marriage, and it's for a good relationship, and it's upbeat. So I was trying so hard to support him and being happy. They did nothing but argue that when I got home, it was yellow. I'm like, what happened to my stones? But luckily, living in Hawaii, we had bamboo in the yard, and I dug a nice little pit and I buried it in the bamboo, and I left it there probably 3 or 4 months. And then I dug it out, and he was a beautiful parrot green again. So there are ways to recharge your stones, but often what happens is if they're taking in too much energy or they're trying too hard, they will lose their color or they will break. A lot of times they will pop, crack, or they'll just disappear. And you're like, well, where did it go? So just be aware of that with your stones. So we were talking about how to purge, like how are we getting rid of things? So looking around your house and seeing like, well, who gave me this and who gave me this? And is this something I want to keep? And feel it. Does it have the energy of that person still on it? And was it given to you in good faith, or is this someone that was, not kind to you? And look at things, and you need to go through things and get rid of them. So that does several things for you. It gets rid of that energy, so it makes room for positive energy to come in. And the other thing it will do is, cognitively, it allows you to go down memory lane and kind of deal with whatever is in the dirt there, whatever it is that you need to do. So I just went through like all my jewelry. I love gemstones, so naturally I love jewelry also. But I have a lot of jewelry from certain people who I recognize later on that they were not treating me well. We'll just say that they were not kind. So I have now removed all that from my jewelry that I absolutely adore, and I'm getting that out of the house. I will clear it before I give it away, because I don't want to give anybody else bad juju. So that's another thing it could do for you. You can write down what you feel when you're going through this, or record it, or do whatever you need to do so that you could just get it out. That's the whole idea. So that gives you a little bit about the energy happening right now. And what we're going into is figuring out, like, what do we want to bring in? We're getting rid of this energy, and the universe abhors a vacuum. So you have to be ready to pull something in and replace it. What are you going to replace it with? What do you want? There are many people the people who are givers, who are always the ones accommodating everybody else and making everybody else feel good, they are the ones who, when you ask them, well, what do you want? They have no idea, because they usually don't have a choice. They take the leftovers, or they do whatever's easiest for everybody else. They're always trying to smooth things over. Hey, Michael. They're always trying to smooth things over, make things better for everybody else. So what you need to do is, instead of allowing them to answer that, I don't know, make them think about it. Make them think about, well, what do you want? What are the things that make you happy? And once you start thinking about it, then you could start to undig, like, what is it? What are those things that I'm looking for? What are those things that I want in my life right now? So those are some things you could do. Now let's see what else is happening. All right. So one of the other things that's happening right now, the first card we got is doubt. Second card we got is Delta, which is the seeing eye of God. It's about faith. It's about like understanding the energy and having oversight. And then we have blessings. So basically what that's saying to me is, like, people are going through a shift in consciousness. We are questioning things. We are questioning everything. We're at a point in time, as I said, where you can't hide things. So things are going to come out. It doesn't matter how nefarious it is, it will come out. The truth will come out, and it's going to come out more strongly than we've had before, and more succinctly. I've been going, I'm a little crazy about watching the Blake Lively stuff and Justin Baldoni. And it's fascinating to me, because I watch all these different creators. I'm trying to see every different viewpoint of what's going on, how differently and how quickly the lies that were the first things that were put out, how quickly they got undermined, and how quickly they were proven false. But you still have these certain outlets, I guess you'll call them, that want to just tout they still want to make it look a certain way. And the people who are only watching that and not looking for the truth, because they don't want to see it, they just want to take whatever the first thing is, that's what they're taking, that's it. They're only going to look at that. Whereas there are people who are truth seekers, who are going to dig, and they're going to look, and it's amazing. I mean, even the stuff that the internet has come out with, where they found things that are now part of the lawsuit. So that's amazing. But that's what I mean by you're not going to be able to lie. You can't hide things. So don't try to do that. That is not a good thing right now. And moving forward, I mean, we're talking moving forward, for as far as I can see, we are in this transition where it's about authenticity. So it's not about following the crowd. It's not about doing what everybody else is doing. It's not about making it easy and not questioning things. I feel almost like the whole mess with COVID was showing us how bad it could get. And then as we're coming through it, all the censorship that was happening then, all the misinformation that was being given to the public. And then if you ask questions, you were told to shut up and made a fool of. And now everything's coming back around and showing that, no, these people were correct. And that, not asking the questions, that's the problem. Real science, real authenticity is fine with questions. That's what it's all about. Ask me questions. Ask me how I do this. How did I get here? What was I thinking? And when you're really authentic and you believe in who you are and you believe in what you're doing, you are open to discussion. You are able to take people questioning you, and you may find new ways of looking things through those questions. Maybe there's something you're not seeing in the situation. Maybe there's something that an outsider can see that you can't. And that's the whole idea. That's why we need to be open to being explored and to exploring ourselves. When you're so tight that you won't look at anything that goes against what you believe already, you're lost. You're not helping yourself, and all you're doing is lowering your vibration. Because to have a truly high vibration, authenticity is key. If you're not authentic, it doesn't matter how good you think you are. If you are denying your soul, it's not good. That doesn't work. So back to the reading, the cards. I mean, it's all part of the reading, but basically what it's telling me is right now we're going through a change in consciousness, a change in our faith. What do we believe in? What are we putting our faith into? And are we choosing correctly, or are we open enough to see where maybe we have fallen down, or maybe those things that we've had faith in might have fallen down? And I'm talking more on the 3D level. But it makes people question. I've had several people call lately who are questioning like their faith in God and their faith in the universe and their faith in good versus evil and all that. And it's like, those are really difficult discussions to have. And the thing to remember is that we're human and so is everybody else. So we make mistakes and so do they. And that, yes, there have been certain things that have been powerful for a long time that they're starting to crumble. And because they're starting to crumble, they are clawing and screaming and kicking their way. So how is this going to transfer? How is everything going to flow into the next phase? Let's see. Do we have any advice? All right. So the first thing I get is to know your peace. And Spirit is saying also that peace is a choice. So we can choose to be upset or anxious or to really dig down into the dirt, or we can choose to be at peace with ourselves. So being at peace is an internal thing. It isn't necessarily something that is external. I don't think the world has ever seen a time when the entire world was at peace, where there was no war. But by the same token, if we choose peace within ourselves and we choose to feed the more nurturing emotions and nurture one another and nurture our community, then eventually that spirals out and that will create a more peaceful existence for the whole planet. The planet is not that big. I mean, we think it's so big. It's not that big when you really look at things. So, and the peace card came up. Wait, ah, ah. I don't know if you guys are seeing like the flashes on these or from all my lights. So we got peace and we got time. And time generally is telling us like now is the time. For the next 18 months, this is something that we're supposed to be working on, is nurturing and cultivating our own inner peace so that we can then spread it out to the world. Because whatever it is, whatever vibration whatever frequency you're vibrating at is what you're bringing around you. Do you have that one friend who everybody calls when they're upset because just hearing their voice makes everything seem okay? Do you have that one person or know of a person who, it might even be somebody's voice on YouTube or on television or on the radio, that when you hear that voice, your whole body just relaxes because everything is okay. It's all right. If you don't have that person, try and find one or become that person, because the world needs more people like that. Like the Dalai Lama, where it is just this, he's so centered and so peaceful and so aware. And this is the kind of person that we would all like to, we endeavor to be. Not exactly the same, but at least peaceful. So this is a deck that I'm about to draw from. It's called Soul Coaching Oracle Cards by Denise Lynn. A friend of mine introduced me to these cards because she had them, and I love them. So when I saw them, I picked them up. It's very easy to start a gemstone or an oracle card addiction. I'm just warning you guys, because there's so many and they're so beautiful, and they all have like different vibrations to them. They all feel a little bit different. Sometimes you get a little bit of different energy or different readings off of different things. So, but ultimately everything, all of these are to spur your own intuition. So even like as I'm pulling cards and looking at these things and talking to you and telling you how I perceive it, one of the reasons why I show you the cards is so that you could see how you perceive it. And you may get a different reading than I do. You may look at that. Okay, so that's radiance. And they give you an affirmation. I am a radiant reflection of God's light. You got that? I am a radiant reflection of God's light. So, but it's a lighthouse. So when you see that, what do you think of? How does that make you feel? Well, what were we just talking about? We were talking about being the peaceful one, the peace in the storm. And if you look at this card, there's definitely a storm happening here. Those are some pretty high waves. And then you have the lighthouse, which is showing the way. And that's what you do when you're the peaceful one. You are that lighthouse. You are that safe space for others to be able to relax into. And I don't know if you could see that, but it's a heart right there in the middle. Come on. Focus. There we go. See that? Isn't that beautiful? So, and the other thing, like I see a lot of things in the cards. Spirit will draw your eye to whatever it is that you're supposed to notice. So in this card, it's you're coming out of the storm, you're being the light, you are the center. And if you look at the building, at the lighthouse, it's basically like a pyramid. The base isn't as wide, but it goes up like a cone. So it's like pulling you up from the chaos up into your higher senses, into your higher frequency, so that you can be peaceful regardless of what's happening around you. Okay, so that is radiance. And by radiance, we're talking about shining your light. I don't know how many of you are from Unity Church. I'm sure a lot of churches use the song, "This Little Light of Mine, I'm going to Let It Shine." Beautiful song. And whenever you feel dark, to listen to or to sing those kind of songs immediately like pulls you up. May not pull you up and out completely, but it pulls you up. I'm laughing because I'm losing my headset. Hold on. I don't know why I did that, but I just felt it sliding down the back of my head. That's not me being peaceful. It's not peaceful having it do that. Okay. So let's see. So what other advice do we have from Spirit? How do we get through these challenging times right now, especially seeing these tragedies, and there's so much fear in the world? We find peace within ourselves. We find peace within our faith. All right. So we talked about purging, and here it's purification. And purification says, my energy field is being cleansed of all I do not need. And what we talked about earlier was cleansing your home and your office and your personal things with the intent that you're making space for something better to come in, and removing objects that have been with you and are stale. So what does that mean? It's stuff that carries vibrations from either past relationships, especially those that did not work out well, things that remind you of times that were not so great, um, or even that have energy from people that you're not in contact with anymore, or that maybe you shouldn't be in contact with anymore, that kind of thing. So recognizing where the hurt has come in, and then looking at those objects and taking them out of your energy field, like removing them. That is what the purge is about. So, and this is all about awakening. And this says, I am awake and aware. I am ready for anything. So, having the attitude that you can overcome any obstacle, that maybe you're going to use it as a building block instead of an obstacle. I remember the first time that I got fired, and I say the first time because, yes, I've been fired more than once, I'm sure. I had left the industry that I was in, and I was taking a friend of mine to a job interview, and this happened to me a lot. It still happens to me, which is funny. But I was taking them, they were going for this modeling thing, and all I did was give them a ride, but I was like in the waiting room with them. And then they called me back, and I ended up getting picked up by the agent. Crazy. Big boost to my ego. I mean, it was fun when I did it, but it was not something that I knew I was going to do long term, or something that that I would have pursued. I'm also short, so that doesn't bode well for especially runway modeling and that kind of thing. And I don't have my balance. Well, now it's bad. When I was younger, it wasn't as bad. But anyway, so that's where that is. So you never know where the positivity is going to come from. You never know where that break is going to be. You never know where that possibility is going to come from. You have to be open to it. You have to allow it the space to be able to come in. Another good piece of advice that my friend Shaman Christopher, we discussed a long time ago, was when he was ready for a relationship, what he would do is he would clean out his house, and he would get good bed linens. He would empty out one of the drawers, so there was space for another person to come in. And that's something I think a lot of us often neglect to do, is we're not making the space in our lives for something good to come in. We're not making the space for us to be able to be healthy. We're not making the space in order to have a child. We're not making the space for a significant other. You have to clear things out and make the space for these things. Otherwise, the energy's got no place to go, and it just feels frustrating or anxiety ridden. And that's not what we need. That's not what you need, and that's not what you want. And just remember, if you want to put a question in the chat, go ahead. If you have anything that you want to add to the conversation, go ahead. I like discussions. Okay. So this is the deck I'm going to use. It's called the Tarot Grand Lux. My friend Terry, who is a Reiki master, chose this deck for me. And the artwork in it is just fabulous. It's just amazing. So let's see what they have to say. What else do we need to know moving forward? What will bring us ease as we move forward through the next 6 months? I don't know how people do the shuffling where they're just like, I can't do that. I end up with cards everywhere. So if anybody wants to explain that to me or teach me, I am open to it. Okay. Okay. All right. And while I'm shuffling, I'll give you a little commercial. For those of you who are interested, I do teach the Soul of Tarot, which will, at the end of the course, you could read any type of oracle, because we increase your intuition. It's about opening to your intuition and how you could read any deck. You could read just about anything, actually. But Solo Tarot is a web class. It is online. And if you would like me to talk more about the tarot or to teach the class live, I am open to doing that. You just have to leave it below. Let me know also, what are the things that you want me to talk about moving forward? Like if there are any particular subjects. And remember, I am a relationship empowerment coach as well as a psychic intuitive. So any of those things. All right, Spirit. All right. What is it we most need to know moving forward? All right. So we have the 4 of coins. I think that's right. Yeah, 4 of coins. I'm dyslexic, so I got to look. So the 4 of coins, 4 is about stability. It's about building a foundation. And the 4 of coins, if we look at this, okay. If we look at this gentleman here and we look at that picture, he has wealth and it's in a lot of different ways. And it shows that, he is someone who is worldly and who he can move when necessary. A ship usually means travel of some kind. So what Spirit is saying is you want to be able to move with the flow, and you want to be able to really open your eyes and see things on a global scale. So when you're looking at something, when you're going to invest in something or someone, you want to keep your eyes wide open and you want to look at the whole picture. Don't try to look through a peephole and think that you know the whole story. So this is about setting that foundation and doing so, recognizing what's happening around you and everything else around you. So the 4 of coins or 4 of pentacles is a good sign of financial stability and gaining financial stability. Now, I know that's something that a lot of us are worried about right now because everything is astronomically expensive. And because a lot of us don't have the means or the backup anymore since 2020 happened, as so many people have lost their life savings and things like that. Spirit is saying you have a good foundation and that you can work towards things getting better. You just need to be open to see what is coming your way. Number 2, and that's a 10 of wands. Wands are opportunities. So what 10 of wands is saying, if you look at this guy, he looks, here, let me, in front of my face. Can you see that? There you go. That's nice. This guy obviously is really tired. I mean, he is like, he's down, he's having a problem getting up, or maybe he's taking a rest. Basically, what wands are is they are opportunities. You can tell I'm Italian because my hands never stop moving. Wands are opportunities and forward motion, generally speaking. So this is talking about, yes, there are a lot of opportunities that are going to open up for you, but don't bite off more than you could chew. Understand and know what you can handle and what you want to do and how you want to do it. Give thought. Think about the consequences. This is a card about looking where you're going. Again, we have building a foundation, and then we have, okay, you have a good foundation. Now you move forward. Be careful of biting off more than you could chew. They say diversify. Don't diversify to the point where you don't know where anything is. Have a good idea of what you're doing and then move forward, but choose your opportunities wisely. Pick and choose what you need. And when you need a break, take it. Nobody's going to give it to you. You have to take it. And then we have the King of Swords. Now, most people see swords as like in a negative light. I'm going to show you guys that one. Come on. There you go. Isn't he handsome? So the King of Swords, when we look at this, he's got feathers. He has a beautiful feather crown. He's got a beautiful jewel there. He's in blue and like a royal purple color, and he has a falcon. So basically, what this is saying is, especially with the two cards before it, is that you are setting yourself up for success. What swords tell us, swords are air. So that's about using your logic. Using your logic and your intuition. The falcon sees far. He could see things at a distance. So again, looking at the consequences, figuring out what is it that I need to get from here to there, and then doing it in such a way that you're not overextending yourself. You need to really be careful of overextending yourself because it's an easy time to fall. It's an easy time to fall into a pattern of not having enough, and then we're doing too much because you're trying to catch up and you're going to end up sick. So what you need to do is figure things out, look at the long game, and do things long term. Give yourself a break when you need it. When you need rest, when you need to be healthy, do what you need to do that. And take that time, because so often we get so wrapped up in the rat race and trying to keep up, even with our own things, that we end up missing things along the way, and we end up working ourselves into the ground. So working yourself into the ground and not allowing yourself to have rest and to recharge, you end up ruining your foundation. You end up like much worse off, because as we all know, like once you get sick, then everything just kind of piles up. And with a lot of the stuff that's been going around lately, it's not like a quick 24-hour flu like it used to be. Like things take a while before you finally start feeling better and really have the energy to move forward. So we need to be careful of that. And the King of Swords is telling you that you have everything that you need to move forward and get what you need and what you want. Feathers and birds are often messengers. So it's also about listening to your intuition, following your spiritual guidance, and really sitting with things before you make that move. So it's like, take a minute, take a breath, look, you're playing the long game. So this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You need to teach it as such, or treat it as such, rather. Okay. So we have all that. And if you are enjoying this, you can buy me a cup of coffee, and that is in the notes below. Also, please let me know the different topics that you would like to talk about. The other thing that I was thinking about doing, and I know I talked about this a while ago, is I just was down in Elkton, Maryland. I worked a show and at Cecil College. It was so much fun. The best people. They have such a great audience, and they have wonderful vendors. I mean, all the vendors are great. We all kind of stick up for one another. We look around. Okay, what do you have that I don't have? And we try to send people to the right places. I did a talk there on psychic self-defense. I did it on paranormal activity. Psychic self-defense I did last year. This year I did paranormal activity. So it's a great place to go. And when I was there, I was like, I need to do another class because people have been asking for it. So on February 27th at 1 p.m. via Zoom, I will be doing an intro class to exploring your intuition. It is a series. You get to discover all your different spiritual gifts, and we go into each of them. So each is a module, and each module contains 4 classes that are based on a theme. So like the first theme is, what are the spiritual gifts? Like we look at all the clairs, and then we look at the aura, and we look at different methods of divination, and we play with them a little bit. There's another class that I do where specifically we go into all the different ways of reading and you get to really play with it. We deep dive into it. This is touching on everything so you can get a little taste of things and figure out what it is that you want to do. So it's an intro class. It's just $20. And if you want to know more, you can email me at geralyn@voiceofspirit.com, or you can go to my website. And when you go to my website, depending on your web browser, it's going to say that it's insecure. It's not insecure. I brought the security tags. Once you get on it, you'll see it's secure. You're not going to be giving out any of your information. So I don't know why it does that, but I am moving it to another platform. So, but that's just not ready yet. But if you want to see what each of the modules is, and you could take one module, you could take number 1 and number 3, or you could take 2 and you could take 4. If you want to do it online, I already have it recorded. Or if you want to do it live with me, then you're going to be starting on February 27th. And on the 27th, I'll give all the details as to cost and how to get in touch with me and all that fun stuff. But this way, you get to really explore what intuition is and discover what your spiritual gifts are and play with that. You can work with it. Okay. So I'm sorry. I'm starting to lose my voice. Okay. Relax. Chill. All right. So basically what Spirit's been telling us is right now we're going through a period of time where it's really good to clear the decks. And as we're clearing things, it's good to know what we want past that. So as we're detaching from this negative energy and we're moving away from things that don't serve us anymore, what are we moving towards? What are we going to fill those spaces with? What kind of energy do we want to fill our souls with and our lives with? We need to figure that out as we move forward. And I highly recommend listening to the Purge video that I did, I think it was last week. So I'm losing my voice. So I think I'm going to go now. I do want you guys to like and subscribe, please. I am trying to get to 5,000 in the next 6 months. That's what I'm hoping. I think we're at 1.5 or 1 point something. So I would like to increase. And then I would like to get into a pattern of coming on at least once a week. Let me know what you want to talk about. Let me know what you want to learn. And we will do that. I also have memberships and so on and so forth. So my name is Geralyn St Joseph. I am your psychic for modern times. I'm also a coach, a relationship empowerment coach, and I'm also tired, I think. So you guys have a great night. If you have specific questions, put them in the chat underneath, and I'll see what I can do. If you want to have a reading specifically with me, email me and say that you saw me on YouTube. I do have special pricing. My pricing on my website is $5.25 for an hour. So you get special pricing if you're coming from YouTube, but you have to let me know when you're scheduling. Okay? And again, my email address is Geralyn@voiceofspirit. And thank you so much for being with me today. Mahalo and blessings.